Hi everyone, this is the Brazen Plus by Behmor. It is the latest SCAA Certified coffee maker of the four on the list, and the Brew Express is now off that list, so this is the one that's taken the BE 110 or 112, whatever it is, its place. I've been using it for about a week now, and it's actually replaced my Bonavita BP 1800 for the time being. Mostly because I want to just give it a bunch of tests and see how it compares, but I haven't done a side-by-side yet. But this is a really feature-rich coffee maker. You have the ability to set your temperature from 190 degrees to 210 degrees Fahrenheit. You can calibrate the boiling point depending on what your what altitude you're at. So that's really cool. There's only one coffee maker off the top of my head that I think is for people that live in high altitudes. But this one lets you adjust it completely. It has a gold tone permanent filter. You can see I've got some coffee in there. So sorry about that. But the Brazen Plus is actually the newer version. It's the new and improved version of the former Brazen, and one of the new features, or I guess one of the improvements I should say, is the larger filter basket, larger permanent filter. And you can use paper filters in this. You would just basically take out your filter and put a paper one in the filter basket right there. So I'll definitely be doing some of that later on. Another cool thing, or another thing that's been improved, is this thermal carafe. And I've noticed that it keeps coffee hot way longer than my BB 1800 carafe does. The improvement has to do with the spout. I guess there were pouring issues in the previous version. I've seen a few dribbles here and there, but nothing too annoying. We've got this extra large shower head that is going to be difficult to see without a light, so let me just get that. So you can see that there's a lot of different holes here where the water comes out, and there's a bit of condensation buildup, which I'm not a big fan of, but I guess after every brew you can just wipe it down. It is programmable, and that's actually a feature I've been using a lot. I know it's a little faux pas to leave ground coffee out overnight, but it's really nice to wake up to a cup of coffee, or a pot of coffee, I should say. You can also stick something like a Chemex or a Hario V60 under here. I've done that already, and I'll have a video for you on this review. The reservoir is cool. It's all stainless steel. There's the different water level indicators, which I don't find very helpful, but you can see 6 cups, 8 cups. In the instructions, they give you a whole ratio guide, so you know how much coffee to grind up and how much water to use in conjunction with that. You'll notice all this condensation buildup, though, is pretty annoying. Pretty loose lid. You can see doesn't lock very tightly, but that's just a minor grievance. So that's really the overview. Let's see what I'm forgetting to mention. Oh, it also has a really cool feature where you can pre-infuse or allow your coffee to bloom, and you get to set that time, so you can do anything, I think, as low as 10 seconds up to maybe 2 minutes. So we'll go over that. It lets out about 4 ounces of water to just saturate the coffee for as long as you want, and then it will start the rest of the brewing. All the hot water comes out in 15-second intervals, so it's really consistent. And once again, SCAA certified, so that's obviously a big selling point of this coffee maker. So I'm going to run through some tests and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so instead of running a test right now, I'm going to save that for another post where I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison with the Bonavita BB1800, which is this guy right here. So I thought I'd just go over the pros and cons of this coffee maker, which I've had the chance to use for a few weeks now. And overall, I'm really satisfied. I like the programmability feature because I really haven't had a coffee maker that does that. I know it's pretty common in auto drip coffee makers, which I just don't really use for the most part, but it's really nice having a pot of coffee ready for you when you wake up in the morning, even if it's not as fresh. It's pretty easy to use. I mean, I struggled with it at first, but really it remembers the settings, which is a great plus, even when you unplug the machine. So I'll just show you. I mean, it's going to forget the time. Well, let's see. Let's just plug it back in. So if I go into mode here, so it's got the auto drip set at 8 a.m. and that's what I had earlier. And I'm actually going to set this back to 7:30. So we'll have that set at 7:30. And then the pre-soak I had set to 1 minute actually. It was set at 15 seconds just for the testing I did in another video that you can watch later. And then 195, I'm gonna keep it at 200. We'll just say that it's 12 a.m. right now, and then 250 is the current elevation. I'm not sure if you could see the screen or not, but let's try it now. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug it. Okay, and now when I plug it back in, so the clock does reset. I know it just said 12 a.m. anyway, but it's gonna reset the clock. But you'll notice that still 7:30 for the auto drip, still 1 minute soak time, still 200 degrees, and then clock, and then still 250 elevation. So that's great that it remembers that stuff. The carafe I'm also a big fan of. I'm testing the temperatures right now side by side with the BB1800, but for the most part it keeps the coffee hot really long and it's satisfactory. So what do I not like? Well, I can't say that I'm the biggest fan of the reservoir or just the condensation buildup in general. I find that this thing tends to drip water somehow, some way from time to time. So look, I just pulled out the filter basket and look at all this water that's coming out. Definitely not a good sign. I know lots of people hate stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, what is causing it? I think, at least when I wipe down the shower head, it seems like more water just comes out, and it's definitely annoying. It's not enough to make me want to send it back, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. The carafe does pour very well though, so that's good. You're not going to be spilling coffee anywhere. So as far as I'm concerned, that's really the only downside. The coffee tastes great. Well, actually I should say one other downside is the brew speed, which I found, let's see, I tested 2 cups. It took about 6 or 7 minutes. So I think that takes too long. I mean, I know it's taking time to get the exact temperature, but even so, it's definitely not the speediest auto drip coffee maker out there. I guess it doesn't matter when you're setting the timer, but if you're trying to make some coffee right away, it's not your fastest option. So, just a rundown. Great tasting coffee, super feature rich. It does more than any coffee maker out there as far as I'm concerned. It's a little bit big. Looks kind of reminds me of one of those Martians from Um, Mars attacks. Got a very big head, slimmer waist. And then this condensation and dripping stuff, that kind of irritates me. But at the same time, an all stainless steel reservoir, you can't really complain about that. The extra large shower head is great. I showed that earlier in the review. And yeah, the coffee, which I think I mentioned many times already, tastes great. So I think this is definitely a good investment if you're looking for something with a lot of features, a lot of control. The fact that you could set your temperature, do a pre-soak or saturation, bloom, whatever you want to call it, is great. And really something that not other no coffee maker can really offer you. So if those features are important to you and you don't care so much about how fast your coffee is made, highly recommend it. I think it's a great value.